this is what we're talking about today. Furiosa, a Mad Max saga.
Ooh, that.
And not just that. We're also talking about. We'll talk about
our
the
franchise.
we'll talk about the whole franchise
Yeah,
as much as we can. We'll, especially how it relates to this movie specifically, because Mad Max is a pretty interesting franchise.
It
to talk
is. It reminds me of like if you mix with Fallout with Mad Max.
I mean, for all we know, Mad Max could have been an influence on Fallout.
Yes.
Like
maybe.
Mad Max is probably Australia's only real cultural export.
Yeah.
Because I mean, what else do Australians produce that the world cares about?
Nothing.
Exactly. I mean, we do have some Marvel actors, but
yes.
if Australia didn't exist, they'd cast someone else.
Yes.
As much as I love Hemsworth as Thor, Jackman as Wolverine,
yeah.
I think those are the definitive. Actors to portray those characters, but you gotta.
100%. Yeah. But it's like good, like see like other background, like most characters are Australian, like most.
Yeah, you say that, but
well, not like the main ones.
But this we will get back to Furiosa, but
yes.
The namesake of this franchise is Mad Max or Max Rokitansky. He has never been portrayed by an Australian actor.
Who?
Max Rokitansky.
Yes.
The lead.
The lead, yes.
Yeah,
Mad Max.
Mad Max himself. He's never been portrayed by an Australian actor.
Oh wow.
Like Mel Gibson. Even though he was
Australian.
No. He moved to Australia when he was 12.
Yes.
But he's American.
Oh really?
Yeah, he's American.
Oh, so he's not Australian. He's only.
No, he's not, and neither.
Oh, bro!
And neither is Tom Hardy. He's English.
Bro, but Japanese. Mel Gibson is Australian citizen though. That's.
I don't even think he's an Australian citizen.
I think he was.
Look into it because I don't think he is.
Yes, he was like.
I'm just gonna pull up another. I'm just gonna pull up another image. So you keep.
Yes.
So you keep talking.
Yes.
You get to the bottom of that. Check if.
Yeah, I should check.
Check if Gibson is an Australian
citizen.
We'll
do.
Because I'm pretty sure he isn't.
Yeah, we'll do that. Chris Hemsworth. So he's. I lost my mind. I didn't know the film of Well, I should do this. It's Mel Gibbs. Right. Yes, he is. He's an Australian permanent resident, not an citizen.
A permanent or
yeah.
Okay, well, okay. I guess I take that. I guess I do consider him to be just as Australian as I am. But he's not an Australian citizen.
No. It's a permanent resident.
So that's not the same.
That's not the same thing.
It's not the same thing.
It's not.
I mean, I don't think it's any functionally different, but that's. I guess sometimes we have to split hairs.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just put this image of Anya Taylor-Joy's Furiosa because she's not Australian either.
She's American.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah.
Yeah, I thought.
Even though this is an Australian series.
Yes, most of them.
Yeah, none of the lead characters have ever been portrayed by an Australian actor. I mean
that feels terrible, to be honest.
Yeah, it kind of does.
That take away.
Are we really? Do we mean so little to you, George Miller? Do you really have? Are we really that expendable
you
to
need to cast Australian.
I mean, because honestly, I get it. I mean, I'm probably the least. I'm probably the least
Australian.
I mean, I wasn't gonna say it like that, but maybe I'm the least Australian that ever Australian.
Yeah.
Anyway, so This is George Miller, the director of of every Mad Max movie.
Films, I should say.
And he
is he Australian too?
Yes, he's Australian.
But he never cast American, he never cast Australian lead.
No, although, like, in fairness, Mel Gibson did move to Australia.
Yeah, he did 12, but he's a permanent, I know. But he's still classified as like a, not in the sense like a permanent resident Australian.
So anyway, George Miller, he's 79 years old.
79?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I don't know how old this photo of him is though.
Yeah.
Anyway, I did some research on George Miller today.
Yeah.
Before he went to filmmaking, he was an ER doctor.
Oh really?
Yeah, usually
emergency doctor, yeah.
Yeah, he would treat motorcycle injuries.
Oh wow.
Yeah, which he used as an inspiration to make
the Mad
Max the original Mad Max.
Oh, the original?
Yes. Now to add some more context, George Miller had dreamed of being a filmmaker.
Yes.
But and this is from Good Bad Flicks. Good Bad Flicks YouTube channel.
Yeah.
The Australian government was very restrictive with what you could do as an artist.
Oh really?
Yeah, and he was but eventually somebody named Don Chip, I think was his name. I think he worked in like film classification, and I think he might have even been prime minister. I'm not certain.
No, I'm not too sure.
But he brought the R rating to Australia.
Finally.
Yeah, so with
become
that,
the 18s.
Yeah, so with that,
Americans are 17.
Various Australian filmmakers took the opportunity to make the movies that they wanted to make.
Yeah.
And George Miller was no different. And as I had already said, he made this film, Mad Max, which is.
Oh wow!
This film is very, in terms of scale, this film is very different from Furiosa.
Yes, or like the Mel Gibson one.
Yeah, well, this movie does star Mel Gibson.
Oh, I'm so silly.
Well,
I thought it was like I thought you done like a visual one, like without. I'm so sorry.
No. Mad Max starring Mel Gibson was George Miller's feature film debut, and it was a movie that brought Mel Gibson into superstardom.
I see.
Yeah, even though now Mel Gibson is, he still has his defenders, and I do genuinely like him as an artist, but he is one.
Let's say
the guy's genuinely crazy.
Let's just say, like he's like he has a lot of topics on himself.
I'd say he has issues.
Issues, yeah. His drinking problem, apparently.
Yeah, so, well, yeah, I've heard of that. So anyway, Mad Max, this film was produced on a very small budget. I think
Yes.
I think it was produced on a budget of like $350,000.
That's still pretty cool.
Australian, I assume.
Yeah.
Australian money.
Australian money, yeah. There should be. But did it release international?
Yeah, I think it did.
Yes.
And it grossed nearly $100 million, I think.
That's so cool.
Yeah, becoming one of the most profitable films of all time.
Yes.
And yeah, as I said, it established the careers of George Miller and Mel Gibson. George Miller would go on to direct every Mad Max movie.
Yeah.
He would also go on to direct movies like Happy Feet, Babe Pig in the City, and the Witches of Eastwick.
Oh, I love that movie. We watched that, didn't we?
Yeah, we did it for our Halloween episode.
Yeah, it was your first time.
Yeah, and I mentioned several times that it was directed by George Miller, and
I didn't listen.
You just remembered that.
Yes.
So I'm looking at Mad Max's Wikipedia page, and it says that it has the Guinness. I don't know if it still has it, but it did have the record for the most profitable film.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that's
cool.
Yeah, and obviously this movie is this movie was of a way smaller scale than a movie like Furiosa.
Yes, has big budget.
I mean, you can just kind of tell by comparing these posters.
Yeah.
This one you can see is like painted and has more of a grindhouse kind of. It's kind of like a grindhouse feel, and
yes.
And this is like put together, like composited. You have
Photoshop and
you have scenes. You have scenes from the movie. You have them all in costume.
Yes.
This is really putting it up front what you're going to see because it's showing you what's in the movie. I mean, this poster does that too, but it's all painted.
Yeah.
It's not showing you actual. Actual scenes from the movie.
And plus, they didn't have technology back then. They have some, but not as like what today does.
There's something else to talk about.
Yes.
Even though Mad Max is a series that really prides itself in its stunts.
It does.
Its stunts and its action, its practical effects.
Yeah.
The giant crazy cars that they make up for.
The Thunderdome.
Oh, well,
and it's not part of the original.
Yeah, but we're not talking about Thunderdome just yet.
I know, but still.
And what I mean, where was I? Lost my train of thought.
And plus it was like they actually used cars. They didn't use CGI.
Oh yeah, well.
That there's sound effects.
They never used the CGI or cars.
No.
Not even the new ones. It's all. It's all
real.
Yeah, I mean, I watched a making of where they showed what Fury Road looked like on set. And,
really?
Yeah, and they were actually out in the desert or
in Broken Hill, like past that kind of way. Like it was, I know it was shooting Broken Hill back past.
Yeah, I mean, they were probably green screens, but
I did see some.
But I digress. They still use like actual cars and those crazy sets and Charlize Theron wore like a green sleeve because they were going to remove her arm they used pretty much they only use CGI to put in the backgrounds and
they do. I've seen someone
and get rid of the wires and to give the actors their deformities.
Yeah.
Obviously, you couldn't really do that in the original Mad Max, but this movie is still an accomplishment. Yes. What they were able to do on such a small budget. The car stunts were still pretty impressive.
They do try to use like makeup, like is it VMX? No, they use like makeup deform the fat if they have any deformants. I don't know.
Not in the original Mad Max. No. Which was even though this is a post-apocalyptic franchise, the post-apocalyptic setting is not particularly well established in the original Mad Max because
I see.
Something you ought to consider about Mad Max as a series is that it doesn't really have much of an established timeline, or according to George Miller, the timeline doesn't matter because Mad Max operates as like a legend with different interpretations and different stuff like that.
I see.
What are you reading?
I was thinking, Fallout was inspired by Mad Max.
Oh yeah.
So Fallout series, a video game which has a post-apocalyptic world, has the same leads Mad Max as one of its influence.
Oh, that's cool.
I know.
I think I've even seen.
I thought so.
I've even seen an episode of South Park that. Specifically from Beyond Thunderdome.
Oh
yeah.